okay. All right, thanks. I'm pretty sure I won't live up to that hype, but thanks for inviting me here. It's a real pleasure. Rarely do I make it to the south end of Denver. But I came early today, so I avoided the traffic. So I run the Da Vinci Institute. We're based in Louisville, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we do and some of our thoughts on expanding into the future here. We also have a consulting arm of the Da Vinci Institute, so we help businesses think about how to align their goals with the future. Because if you don't do that, the future is going to kill your plans. So a few months back, I was in Istanbul. I was speaking at a TEDx event on the topic of teacherless education. This is, I think, a very hot topic, and after my talk, I was approached by one of the executives from Google, and this executive happens to be responsible for the entire continent of Africa, and he came up to me and he said, you know, at Google we're very interested in teacherless education because we want to educate Africa, and teachers don't want to go to Africa. Now this was a very revealing moment for me because no, teachers don't want to go to Africa. It's just lots of mosquitoes, bugs, corrupt government, and you get kidnapped or killed. In fact, there's lots of places in the world where teachers don't want to go. So we have a huge need for some other way of getting people in the world educated. Today, we have a teacher shortage globally of 18 million teachers. And a full 23% of all kids growing up today in the world get no education whatsoever. In fact, with the changing pace of technology today, if we continue to have to insert a teacher between us and everything that we need to learn in the future, we can't possibly stay competitive. Somehow we may need to make this far more efficient. The projection is by 2030, the average worker will have to reboot their career 6 times. So how do you do that? I'm gonna come back to that. Let's dive into this question of how does the future get created? Actually, the future gets created in the minds of everybody around us. We all participate in creating the future. People make decisions today based on their understanding of what the future holds. So I use this phrase, the future creates the present. This is just the opposite of what most people think. Most people think that what we're doing today is going to create the future, but from a little different perspective, it's those visions of the future determine our actions today. So here's the key thing. If you change somebody's vision of the future, you're going to change the way they make decisions today. That's my role as a futurist. My role as a futurist is to change people's vision of the future, give them a better understanding, more accurate vision, ways of questioning what their thoughts are about the future so that they can make better decisions today. As my favorite physicist Max Planck likes to say, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. A lot of the thinking around the future gets framed by some of our global influencers, these people that high-profile people that get quoted a lot in the news. And I'll just mention a few of these because this helps frame our thinking about how fast the world is changing. Larry Page says that the main reasons companies fail is because they miss the future. I happen to agree with that. Vinod Khosla, who happens to be the most successful venture capitalist of all times, he says that big data is going to eliminate the need for 80% of all doctors. Pete Diamandis, the founder of the X Prize Foundation, the founder of Singularity University, says that we're headed from a world of 2 billion people connected in the internet in 2010 to 7 billion by 2020. And I'll show you how that's going to unfold here. Christian Hammond, I like this technology. It's a technology called narrative sciences. He says 90% of the news will be written by computers in 2030. And surprisingly, a lot of the news is already written by computers. We just don't know it. So we can put all the data in from a high school football game and it automatically creates an article. These are the writing assignments that nobody really wants. You know, the earnings reports on Wall Street, yeah, pretty boring stuff. They feed that into a computer and it automatically generates the article. Chris Anderson says that 3D printing is going to be bigger than the internet. The reason he says that is because the economy of the physical world is 5 to 6 times larger than that of the digital world. So it'll be real fascinating to watch this unfold. And I didn't want to get left out naturally, so I have my own quote in here that by 2030, over 2 billion jobs are going to go away. Now, when I make a statement like this, I'm not trying to say that this is a big doom and gloom statement, we're going to have 2 billion people unemployed. What I'm actually saying is that we need to create systems for re-employing people at a far faster rate than ever before. Jobs are going to transition in lots of different ways that we don't even understand yet, and so we need to prepare for that. We currently do not have the systems in place for retraining the people that we need to. So I talk a lot about this being what I call the level problem. Most of us have this tool at home. This is a level. Have it in our, if we were going to hang a picture on the wall or build a house, we need a level to do that. But once you can download a level app on your smartphone, suddenly you no longer have a need for that tool, or a lot of people don't. So that means that you no longer have the need for somebody to make the aluminum frame. You no longer have the need for somebody to make the little glass bulbs. You don't need somebody to assemble it, the shipping and receiving. You don't need the retail stores to carry it. Every app that's downloaded, a lot of these apps that get downloaded, that eliminates a piece of a job. It's a very tiny piece, but it's a piece nonetheless. So there's lots of apps, we download them and we can eliminate 10,000 jobs, and we don't even see where that's happening. In the process, we're freeing up lots of human capital. But just because there aren't enough jobs doesn't mean we've run out of work to do. You know, it's kind of ludicrous to say that we suddenly have no work left to do in the world. Yeah, right. We got lots of work left to do. But is there going to be jobs lined up for the work that needs to be done? That's a whole nother question. So where will our next generation jobs come from? So this is the Oculus Rift. How many of you know about the Oculus Rift? Quite a few in this room. This is a more techie audience. Oculus Rift company was bought in March by Facebook for $2 billion. Now, this is a very cool technology. This is a full immersion virtual reality device. You strap it on over your head, and you're lost in another world. You have stereoscopic vision in these things. You feel like you're immersed in this new environment, and there's actually some very cool tools out now that enable you. This is a 360-degree treadmill, so you can walk in any direction. And if you're playing some of these games, you feel like you're immersed in it. And any way you walk, you're immersed in that new environment. Now, as a result of this, there's been a serious uptick in the number of virtual reality designer jobs. So this shows 166 jobs listed on that particular day. But just the fact that Facebook bought Oculus Rift made everybody pay much more attention to that technology. And so we suddenly need people with this skill set. There's not that big a talent pool out there right now. All right, the right to be forgotten. The European Union decided a couple months ago that we all have the right to be forgotten. This is an EU court that made this decision. And as a result of this, Google has had over 70,000 people approach them with a request to take down 250,000 web pages. Now keep in mind, these are just 70,000 people that managed to figure out a way to actually communicate with Google. That is no small task. If it was a way that we could all talk to them, there would be like 7 million people contacting them. But so they're being asked to take down lots of websites right now. This has created another surge in the whole reputation management field. A huge increased demand. There's already been an interesting demand for this, but it's clicked up a significant notch ever since then. So this one shows over 5,533 jobs just for reputation management professionals.
In case you're not going to go into it, why have they been asked to take these websites down? I'm not a techie. I don't understand that.
It's to clean up. You not only have the right to be forgotten, you have the right to be cleanly remembered.
Oh, reputation.
When Pete Diamandis talks about us going up to 7 billion people connected to the internet by 2020, what he's actually talking about is that the fact that Google just bought a solar-powered drone company called Titan, and Facebook bought one called Ascenta. Now, the way these solar-powered drone companies work is they fly at an altitude of 65 to 80,000 feet in the air. And so because they're solar powered, they're above the weather patterns, so they get sun all the time when they're up there, and then during the night they have batteries that keep them operating. So these vehicles never have to land. Well, we don't know what the mean time is between failure, but the projections are that these devices will be able to fly for years on end. Now this becomes a very low-flying satellite or a very high-flying cell tower. So Google and Facebook may indeed be competing directly against AT&T and Verizon and Sprint, but in the meantime, they're going to be trying to connect lots more people to the internet. That increases their market dramatically. Google actually went the extra mile and they bought a company called Skybox, which is a satellite company. So they're trying to create this whole ecosystem of getting the internet to everybody on the planet. And people on other planets too. So if you're going to other planets. The drone world is taking off in real interesting ways. We all heard the big announcement that Amazon's going to start delivering packages. Well, that can't happen until the FAA gives them the okay to do that. And the official ruling's coming in September of next year, where they're trying to create an operational plan for all of the drone operations above 400 feet. So this is going to open the doors for lots of opportunity. And of course, the drone that we all need is this one here, which is the beer delivery drone. I would like to be the pilot for beer delivery. But as a result of this, then we see this sudden uptick in the demand for UAV operators. Drone pilots, drone repair people, and there's going to be a big security element here too. The same drones that can deliver a package to you can also deliver explosives, can also deliver poison, can also spy on you in your bedroom. There's lots of issues that come about. So there's some good things and some bad things. And so security issues are going to be huge, and they're going to need a lot of people for that as well. So bold companies are instantly triggering the need for new talent. When they make an acquisition, they buy a new company, suddenly there's a huge demand for people with skills in that area. At the same time, the traditional colleges and universities are very poor fit for retraining people in a timely fashion. So I made the prediction that by 2030, over half of the traditional colleges and universities will disappear. And I'm not the only one saying this. There's quite a few of them. So if you think about what it takes for a college to introduce a new curriculum like this, they got to create the curriculum, then they have to get it all approved, then they have to recruit the students to go into that program, and it's a 6-year, 7-year pipeline at best. It's a long, drawn-out process. So to really define this problem, we need to prepare students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technology that hasn't been invented to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. This pretty well explains the dilemma that we're in right now. So at the Da Vinci Institute, we're focusing on this whole concept of micro-colleges. We have our own program called Da Vinci Coders, where we're training people how to be computer programmers. It's a 13-week course, and it's beginner-based, so we have people that have very little computer programming skills to start, and they're getting entry-level jobs coming out the back end. We frame our discussions around this idea of 1,000 hours of proficiency. So if you spend 1,000 hours working on computer programming, you're very likely going to get an entry-level job. To put that in perspective, if you work 12 hours a day for 84 days straight, that's 1,000 hours. You can do it in less than 3 months, but it's not too likely. Few people are that hardcore. But micro-colleges, the way we're thinking about them, are immersive forms of post-secondary education done in very short periods of time. Now, the need for this is that it's no longer possible to predict the educational needs 5 to 6 years in advance. That's just simply not possible. And so micro-colleges represent this responsive mechanism that for creating new talent quickly. And if we're shifting gears, if people have to shift careers 6 times by 2030, they want to do it in the least amount of time. That's what makes colleges such a poor fit. Colleges want to keep you there 2 years, 4 years. People want to do it in a month, 2 months, 3 months at the most. And the faster the better. So if you think about all the types of micro-colleges that can be created, we can open this up into lots of different fields. 3D printer design, people that know how to do that, crowdfunding, dog breeders, people that are brewmasters for all the breweries that are, we got a new brewery going in about once a week here in Colorado. Drone pilot schools, aquaponics farmers, urban agriculture. There's lots of opportunity here. Some of it around the technical stuff and some of it around the less technical stuff. So I'll touch real briefly on some of the future plans for the Da Vinci Institute. We're looking at kind of a 3-phased approach. One is, the first step is to expand our Da Vinci Coders program. We're going to go into mobile apps. We're going to go into game design. We're going to go into some of the other languages. And we want to expand into a new facility that we're looking at and create a learning laboratory. So the whole learning environment is changing. We have new tools and techniques that we haven't, that are being invented almost on a daily basis. We want to take a serious look at using those and what works and what doesn't, and then create something of a maker space just framed around the course creators. And so I think that becomes kind of interesting.
Are you going to also have that virtual online?
Yeah, so there will be virtual environments. So when you create a new course, very likely you're going to want to teach it to a live audience for the first couple times. Sure. to get good feedback. Once you've done that, you work some of the kinks out of your curriculum, then you can record it and you can pipe it in online, or it might be something that works better that is part online, part in class. So there's no one-size-fits-all formula for all these. So what does a laboratory look like? We're playing around with different ideas for what that might look like. And this idea of a makerspace just for cutting-edge course creators, this can This can go off in a lot of different directions. If we're training people in robotics, then you want a lot of hardware stuff there. Training stuff for 3D printer designers, and you want 3D printers there. So, as Mark Twain says, a man who carries a cat by his tail learns something he can learn in no other way. Boy, isn't that the truth? The future is ours to write. It's our choice. We can create it however we want. Some of the predictions I'll give out here just to stir your imagination a little bit is the Internet of Things will virtually eliminate physical theft because we can track things everywhere. Driverless cars are going to change transportation as dramatically as the invention of the automobile itself. By 2030, the average person will own printed clothing, will live in a printed house, will have packages delivered by drones, will own more than one robot, will work as a freelancer, will frequently use a driverless car, and will be 3 times more educated than the average person today. When I talk about over 2 billion jobs going away by 2030, a recent study that was done by McKinsey & Company, they said that for every job eliminated by the internet, another 2.6 jobs were created in startup companies. So I like to say that the fastest way to create new jobs is to automate the old ones out of existence. That may or may not be true. We're entering into a period of unprecedented opportunity. So why is this so important? It's because humanity is going to change more in the next 20 years than in all human history. The risk factors are going to increase exponentially, and our children's children who haven't even been born yet are counting on you. As Steve Jobs says, right now is one of those moments when you are influencing the future. But sometimes our best efforts just look a lot like this. Pretty much like that. Thomas Edison says opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. I think you understand that. So if any of you want more information about what we're doing at the Da Vinci Institute, please stop by and see me afterwards. You can sign up for a free newsletter that goes out once a week. But I thank you very much for having me here today.